This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. Modern gaming has many areas that I think could benefit from a lot of improvement. You can point to a lot of different things that people are frustrated with. You see issues with how games launch in a poor state, and the developers and publishers expect us to pay full price for what feels like the worst kind of early access. Or we get a title that feels like it's monetized into oblivion, and then we get writing that is either very bad or even worse, disrespects a legacy, or legacy characters, along with even trying to push a progressive agenda down our throats, to the point of it feeling like agenda was the main goal of the company, rather than trying to actually provide a piece of entertainment. Aren't games supposed to be fun and, well, games, not pieces of political propaganda that is invading this space? This is an area very much destroying writing within gaming. What is oddly funny about the whole thing is that writers from games that are like 5 to 10 years ago knew how to actually write something good. And while there might be a character or plot point that we may not have agreed with the political leanings that it relates to, the game wasn't all about this, or even a character wasn't all about this, or in the cases of bioware, actually presenting choice for the player. There were cases if you didn't want a party member, you could just kick them out, or if you were too evil, then party members would turn into foes, and now you're fighting them. And as evident from the use of Taash from the newest Dragon Age title, I am not sure bioware knows how to write anymore. Or at least in the case of this character, they want to put agenda over entertainment. I am going to show a scene from the game here, and then we're going to discuss that right after it.
Here, vegetables.
Thank you.
So, I'm non-binary.
What does that mean?
It means I don't feel like a man or a woman.
If you are neither a man nor a woman, then what are you?
Non-binary. I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on.
If this is because I have criticized your dress or your manners...
It isn't!
Under the Cune, the term for one whose gender does not match the one given to them at birth was a Cunethlock. Perhaps you are like that.
Why do you have to keep picking at it? Why can't you just be happy for me?
Evatash, Chakra to Ebra.
So I'm supposed to struggle with who I am? Even if I don't feel like I fit, even if I feel wrong?
No, you misunderstood.
Then say it better! Why am I never enough for you?
I will go. Thank you for inviting me to your home. Panahedan.
All of that was new for her. Just give her some time.
No. It's okay.
Taash,
I'm not hiding anymore. How she takes it is her problem.
you sure?
Yeah. Come on. Don't let food go to waste.
If you've played Veilguard, seen any stuff from my channel, or even just saw some clips going around on social media, then you've probably encountered the prior dinner scene that we just watched. I wanted to use this as an example here, but it's also one of the best ones to show to really articulate the point of agenda over entertainment. Here we have Taash, Rook, and Taash's mom all having dinner together. Taash wants to sort of come out to her mother. The situation doesn't really start out the strongest, because her mother requests different food than what Taash had prepared. Taash, being socially awkward, just comes out with it, with her saying that she is non-binary. Her mother tries to understand this, and this eventually leads to some yelling by Taash. Both parties are frustrated, and her mother leaves. So one of my big problems with this scene is how the mother brings up an in-lore word for their culture that potentially relates to how Taash feels. Taash throws that to the side and goes for more 2024 modern-day terms. This feels like the writers acknowledging the potential in-lore reason, and then throwing it out the window to then just use the terms that they want. Maybe this is a self-insert for a writer, and they went through something like this and wanted to then present that within their art. My problem is that the use of modern-day language within Dragon Age really rips you right out of the fantasy world. It feels like a situation where the game is like, oh, you were enjoying or trying to enjoy our little fantasy RPG here. Well, time for a commercial break where we push stuff onto the player, with all the execution of an after-school special. Look, I'm not a Dragon Age lore expert. I love Origins and enjoyed the prior 2 sequels as well. I have even seen some cite that Veilguard even contradicts stuff seen in Origins, which I also believe. So the use of modern day language and how it is presented really current days your game, and more importantly rips you right out of the scene. As another point with this scene outside of the bad execution, am I supposed to feel bad for Taash here? I know that Taash and her mother have tension and a lot of history, but in this instance the mom is actually doing a good job of the situation. She sees her child is frustrated and maybe needs help. She doesn't really understand the situation and tries to both help and then ask questions to then understand it better. Taash comes across as a disrespectful child because her mother won't blindly accept her reality. So if the goal was for us to feel bad for Taash, that was not achieved here. The complete opposite was actually achieved. My guess is based on the prior scenes, the player is meant to feel bad for Taash, especially with her being at this low point. But how the dinner ends is more of as a result of how Taash reacted to her mother, trying to understand everything. This journey that Taash goes on as well seems to be the only thing about her character. She doesn't really feel like a character, but rather a vessel to spout off this stuff at the player. We will get into another example in a bit too. I mentioned that self-insert, and this is honestly what this feels like. I wouldn't be surprised if this was written for a way to sort of allow the writer to then vent or work through a situation that they had in their own past. It feels like a wound that may never have healed for that individual. While experience can really create some of the best entertainment, look back to films and books from authors written by those fought in wars. But here with Dragon Age we have a situation where they forgot to entertain. I'm not entertained by this at all. I'm bored and worst of all being preached at. There are potentially better avenues to even explore this topic better too. Maybe having an engaging conversation between Taash and her mother, really trying to work this out. Maybe with this being an RPG, there's opportunities to make choices to reflect how the situation could go. Have multiple outcomes. That is just me brainstorming here, because as it stands, it works to push the player away from Taash, and it works to push the player from the game and the drama being conveyed here. All things I do not think were the goals of the team that actually made this game. Now my next example is another one that you have seen go around, and I have even shared it in some of my prior videos. But here, since we're going to discuss it, I want to show it to you completely. It's a bit long too.
Now it's real pissed that it's missing an eye.
Oh, my.
What kind of statue was this?
Big snake.
Not bad.
Not bad. It's a giant snake. What would have been better than that?
Dragon.
Maybe. I've seen dragons, though. Never a giant snake.
And now we've got a giant, angry, one-eyed snake statue trying to swallow Taash whole.
Wait, how does that work? Where would they go? Did it have a stomach?
Wait for it.
Best part is, while Taash is pounding that snake's nose, she's still holding the ruby in her other hand. Maker's panties, I was so proud.
Oh,
Ah, shit. They're still holding it, sorry.
What are you doing?
Pulling a barb.
Oh. Okay.
a barv.
Tradition in the Lords of Fortune, from one of our old members, Barv. Good guy, but like most of us, his plans went sideways a lot. Bad blood among your crew's not good for morale, but there's not always time for big, drawn-out apologies. So, when one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right. Pulling a Barv. Oh, there we go.
I'm glad the Lords of Fortune have Taash's back.
Oh, Taash isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
Really?
It was a little before your time, but Horlicks was one of ours.
Huh.
Bastard looked better than I did in a dress or pants. And out of them, too.
Any reason you can't just apologize?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. Trust me, I know. But pulling a barv, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
What if they mean it when they say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them. Oh, I didn't mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose. They feel so bad about it that it's on everyone else to smooth it over and make them feel better.
Oh, okay. Yes, some people might do that.
Pulling a barv puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess, they fix it, done.
Isabella's apology work for you, Taash?
Yeah. I didn't expect the Lords to care about the stuff. Me being non-binary.
Kirkwall taught me about family. If it matters to you, it matters to me. I mean, to the, Lords.
Oh. Thanks.
Anyway, where was I? So, there Taash is, thigh-deep in a snake's maw and still holding the giant ruby in one hand. I yelled that we'll get them out of there, and Taash just yells back, "Get up its ass! I'll meet you in the middle!"
Okay, the stomach I get, but did it really have...
Hey, who ate the last breaded cheese wand?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I guess I thought, well... I don't know what.
It's fine.
No! They're your favorite.
Say you're sorry some more. That'll fix it.
No, you're right. I'm pulling a barv. 1, 2, 3...
So in this scene, Taash is then addressed not with her preferred use of pronouns or how she sees herself. This is where we are introduced to a barv, which is sort of like self-shaming for something that you did that was bad, and something physical needs to be done to have it actually land better than saying sorry. The scene tries to mix something serious with some comedy as well, and again, just like the last scene, this does not work well either. For one, I find this really odd that Isabella takes it upon herself to just do this, with no reaction from Taash herself. The other party member is like, "Oh, I can't believe you said that." That is sort of like the inciting thing to start the whole barv thing. But Taash never really displays any type of offense to the incorrect pronoun usage here. It's like a third party who is like, "Oh, you said something wrong," based on her reaction. And I can't help but be reminded how this is something that is seen a lot within progressive politics, where a group of people will take on something negative that might be happening to another group, and then speak on their behalf, without actually talking or hearing from the group that is supposed to be affected by it. This is like, "Oh, you said something wrong and you should feel offended." What's funny is more often than not, the group that is supposed to feel offended mostly doesn't care, and it just ends up being this big nothing burger. And that is kind of what happens here, because Taash is never really mad at the situation. She doesn't even demand apology or anything like that right away, but this whole scene seems like a way to lecture the player, as well as to show someone that should self-shame related to all this pronoun stuff. What's worse is that this is then really hammered when Taash finds out that one of her party members ate the last of a snack that she wanted, and they go and start doing push-ups to pull their barv. Also, a barv is supposed to be a physical thing that you do as a way to say that you're sorry, without having a long-winded situation of saying sorry. But that is essentially what this scene is. This whole thing is like a walking contradiction. Again, similar to what I said before with the other scene. A big part of what could have aided this was the use of actual choices here. Where are my jerk options within this game? It's like this game wants to discuss stuff surrounding Taash, but it's in this weird progressive vacuum, without there being any challenging points of view or even an option to be a jerk about it. The easy answer here is that if the writers actually allowed you to have that choice, especially the choices to be a jerk, many crazies on social media would say that BioWare is promoting bigotry, where in reality they would not be, and actually deepening their choices within a game that is really known for its player choice. The writers are creating their view of reality, and not allowing for interesting debate or conversation to come from it. This is the net result for preaching over entertaining. The writing for Taash is an absolute train wreck. She doesn't feel like a character. This feels like a way for the game to be a self-insert or object to then have these progressive conversations. The problem is that the writers here are not interested in actually presenting something more organic with these situations, where things feel like this could be discussed and really explored, but rather they want to use Taash as a means to push these talking points onto the player, without doing any of the work to make it conveyed in a manner for the player to be engaged with it. I had no idea that as part of the new Dragon Age, that we would be subjected to after-school special levels of writing for its characters. There are parts where the game sort of hints at a better direction, but that stuff is then brushed aside or closed out, because this is all being done within a vacuum, and what's worse is that the player has to suffer through it, with the lack of true player choice to be given to them. I think many gamers would be perfectly fine playing a game that might be more progressive with stuff in it, as long as the game manages to still entertain the player as well. Are you a game, or are you a piece of propaganda putting that message first and then entertaining last? I even look at Baldur's Gate 3. There's a lot of stuff in there, a lot. And you know what? It's enjoyed by most gamers, sold really well, and all of that. Why? Because it remembered that it was a game and also provided those choices that we want. This is all very sad seeing BioWare within this state. Their prior writers knew how to come up with interesting conversations on gender in their prior games. Look at the very first Mass Effect when you ask about the Asari. We the players deserve better. We want to play your games. We don't want to be preached at. We want to be entertained. So please, get back to doing just that. What are your thoughts on the new Dragon Age? What are your thoughts on this particular character? Are there other games that have done the same thing here? How can we fix it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.